Welcome back to the Mike and Andrew Show. I'm Andrew Surwick here again with Mike Meredith. Mike, it is episode number 60 for us, Big 6-0. Anyways, man, we got some stuff to get into. We're going to get into the top 10 wide receivers today, but first, we're going to talk about a trade that happened yesterday. But first of all, Mike, let's hear it. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Yeah, we had a big trade in the NFL. We had Steffon Diggs, one of the premier receivers in the league, go to the Houston Texans. So the Bills are pretty much gutting their entire core. They're going to be starting with a whole new crew for Josh Allen and Steffon Diggs. They traded away a first-round pick in 2020 to get Steffon Diggs in the first place, the Bills, which ended up being Justin Jefferson. So that backfired for the Bills. And then now they're trading Steffon Diggs away for a second-round pick. So the Houston Texans get Diggs, and they got Nico Collins and Tank Dell. And they said that if Diggs is like causing drama or just doesn't work out after this year, they can opt out of Diggs' deal. They're able to get rid of him after this one season. So even if it doesn't work out for him, say this year Diggs does end up causing problems where, he has a lot of drama going on and they just don't want to deal with it, they can get rid of him too. So it's kind of nice for Houston because they have all these young players. They're going all in, and there's a way out of Steffon Diggs if it does not end up working out for this season. But I think that with this team here, this offense is just so deadly now, man. They have a lot to prove. They won a playoff game last year, way overachieved. And now this year, I mean, the two worst run organizations for ever were the Texans and the Lions. Now they might be the two best ran organizations in football today. They are making some big moves.
Yeah, this move, I think, made the Texans the favorite to win the AFC. I think they can take down the Kansas City Chiefs this year. I really, really do. That offense is loaded, and if C.J. Stroud can just, at the very bare minimum, maintain what he was able to do last year, the Texans the Texans will win the AFC, no problem. I do have a concern, and that's to do specifically with Diggs, and that is Buffalo traded him away for a second-round pick for next year's draft. Not this year's, next year's. They were trying to find anything to get rid of Steffon Diggs out of that locker room because he is very vocal about his target share. But the way, and this is where I think the Texans might find a problem, but they have that out of opting out is the way the Texans are coached is receiver number one is the guy who's always open. And Steffon Diggs the last few years has never been able to find himself open, and that's why he doesn't get as many targets, and that's why he cries, because he doesn't get a lot of targets. But it's like, well, if you were better at your job and, got open more, you'd probably get more targets. Just throwing that out there. And so that's the way that that Texans offense is ran is whoever's open the most is wide receiver one. So if he wants his target share, he better start learning to get open again because otherwise he ain't gonna get what he wants from this deal. But man, this Texans team is stacked offensively. You got Nico Collins, who was a nobody up until last year, and now became damn near a Pro Bowler in his third season with C.J. Stroud at the helm. And the Texans are going all in on this because they got their quarterback on a rookie deal still for a long time. Their window is wide fucking open. So the Texans are going to be scary this year. I honestly believe they will win the AFC and make it to the Super Bowl this year because they are just loaded. And then also, they got Danielle Hunter as well on the defense, and that helps that defense a ton. So I think they're going to make a big splash come the trade deadline this year as well, because man, everything that they did last year, to get C.J. Stroud, and who did they take with their second pick last year? I can't remember now.
Will Anderson.
Yeah, Will Anderson, phenomenal pick as well. Yeah, I mean the Texans are scary now, and again, you got C.J. Stroud on a rookie deal. This is, yeah, if Stroud can at least at the bare minimum maintain what he did last year, he's probably going to get better this year though. So we'll have to see. But man, this Texans offense is going to be scary.
Yeah, they are going to be for sure.
So yeah, that's going to wrap up that subject there. Again, there's some concerns about what exactly why Buffalo decided to make this trade, and I'm pretty sure it has to just do with the locker room toxicity from him. So we'll see what the Texans do in the future. If he gets his target share, he might shut up, but we'll have to see. So moving on, we're gonna wrap things up. We're gonna do top 10 wide receivers here coming up for the NFL draft. As I said, we're going to bring this every episode leading up to the draft now, just the top 10 at each position. Although when we get to like offensive line and defensive line, we're just going to go all positions across that line. So we're not going to do all centers, all guards, that shit. Just best offensive lineman and best defensive lineman. So, anyways, number 10 here, Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky. He's kind of an under the radar guy. They got him graded as a second to third round pick. He's got some decent hands. That's probably his biggest concern, I would say, is between getting a lot of drops on tape that he has and also a very, very simple route tree. We don't know if he can run a pro style route tree, but he's very powerful. He's kind of more built like a running back than a wide receiver. I think this kid could work out pretty well. He could be a very good slot receiver. A guy that you could throw a lot of screens to because he is very strong with his legs. So he, I think he can go second round, no problem. I don't know. I don't see him dropping as far into the third round as I've seen on some mock drafts. But yeah, a little bit of work on his hands could do him wonders, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. Solid slot guy. Again, he's kind of down here, but I think that he has potential to possibly be one of the better receivers from this class. So we'll have to see how everything turns out. But I think that if he puts in some more work, that he can be that guy.
Yeah, and they listed one of his strengths was during the Senior Bowl. He had an extremely strong week of practice, and a lot of scouts took big note of that. Is that he just works very, very hard. So I could definitely see him being, in a way, like a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown, where he's drafted not very high, but suddenly becomes a top receiver in the league. Number 9 here, son of legend Jerry Rice, Brendan Rice from USC. He's 6'2", 212. He's got a big frame, really, really long arms. I mean, an over 78-inch wingspan. So I mean, he's got reach. He's pretty fast. He's very strong. I really like him. I don't think he's gonna live up to his father's status necessarily, but I think he could definitely be a very good, reliable receiver. But a lot of scouts say, like, if you don't draw a lot of double coverage in college, you might not be the best receiver going into the pros. I don't necessarily buy that, but again, if you're not being double covered, are you really that important too? So they got him graded as a second round pick. I think that's very very possible. I think maybe a very high to mid second round pick, though. I think I see him going to the top 20 inside that second round, but there's no way he's going to go in the first round. That is That's for sure about him. But yeah, Mike, any thoughts on Brendan here?
Yeah, I think that he can be good. I mean, to live up to the greatest wide receiver of all time. I mean, those expectations are just not feasible. But I think he could be solid. It's tough with these kids, man, because like Randy Moss's kid was good in college, but never really panned out much in the pros. And then there's other examples of players like, um, I mean, they play different positions, but McCaffrey ended up being great. So it just depends with these ex NFL guys. Jerry Rice is such a big name. I haven't heard much on Brendan, to be honest, compared to some of these other wide receivers. I think he has the. I mean, he has the DNA to be great. We'll just have to see if he has the work ethic to uh, be committed.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be very hard to live up to his father's name. That's kind of a given. But I mean, very rarely too do we see in any sport where the child of a superstar ends up being a superstar themselves. Very very rarely. It's happened, but it's very rare. Um, Moving up to number 8 here, they have Roman Wilson from Michigan. He's 6 foot, 192 pounds. A smaller guy. He didn't get a lot of workload and wasn't even a full time starter until actually this year. Um, but he led the Wolverines in every single category in receiving. Catches, yards, touchdowns. He's got elite hands and really really good speed. He's a good route runner. Um, he makes very clean breaks on routes. I mean, I loved him as a Michigan fan personally. He was the best receiver I'd seen come out of that school in a very long time. Um, he's and the thing that I think raises his draft stock the most is he played on a pro style offense and he ran pro routes, so I think that raises him up because honestly, if he played on a normal college style offense, I don't know if he would have even be on this top 10 list. Um, but he's smaller, so that kind of gives him a knock, but yeah, no, I really like him, and I think he can do pretty well in the NFL.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I mean, he did put in some good work at Michigan, man, but NFL is a whole new beast. Hopefully, he can find himself in a good offense that can get some good routes for him, and he can develop.
Yeah, I mean, if he can, just keep doing what he's doing, keep putting in that work, I think he could be very, very good. Um, you know, he he had some incredible catches this year. I mean, catching a ball in the end zone off the back of a Nebraska defender. I remember that one. JJ, threading the needle between two Ohio State defenders and him making that catch and spotting that ball all the way into his hands. I mean, he has made some elite catches this year. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see where he goes. They got him as a second round pick, and that's about where I would put him to. I think he'll be pretty valuable in that second round. Moving up, number 7 here, Adonai Mitchell or A.D. Mitchell from Texas. He's 6'4", 196 pounds, big dude. He's pretty quick. He's very composed. He has a very long reach. Um, and dude, that man can jump. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. They got him great as a second rounder. I could see him going in the late first round to like a Kansas City or a San Francisco that could use a guy like him. If he's not, late first round, he's going to be very early second round. I like him, obviously. Horns up, go Texas, they're back. All that shit. But I don't think he's necessarily obviously I don't think he's a top 5 receiver in this class, but man, I think he could be one of the best receivers in the league in the future if he just continues to put in the work.
Yeah, he's got the tools. I mean, good height. You know, pretty solid school. Think that again. It's with these guys, they're going second, third round. I mean, it's all going to depend. I mean, they got the talent, they got first round talent. If they can just put in the work, man, and get drafted to a good situation, I mean, can't really help where you get drafted to, but you can try and make the most of getting in those routes and being able to develop under whatever offensive coordinator they end up having.
Yeah, and like I said, if he goes late first round to a San Francisco or a Kansas City, I mean, he's going into a great situation and he can develop much quicker there. And yeah, that could work out pretty well for them. Number 6 here, Troy Franklin from Oregon, 6'2", 187 pounds. Um, I would say his biggest concern is just his frame. I mean, he's got the frame, it's just not built up. He's pretty lean. Um, he is really fast, though. I mean, he is one of the fastest receivers, or might actually be the fastest receiver if I remember from the combine. I know he's definitely up there in the 40-yard dash. I mean, he's going to be a big vertical threat against really any opponent that he faces. So it'll be interesting to see how whoever drafts him uses him. But like I said, he's pretty lean, so he needs to definitely add some weight to him. Um, so yeah, but he's got really good hands. He's got vision, and he can block pretty damn well too. So I always like it when receivers are actually trying to block. Like a guy like JMO who will put a shoulder out on people. I like receivers that don't get mad when a team runs the ball a lot and will actually go out and block.
Yeah, another one that has pretty good talent, but yeah, just hit the weight room, get a little bit muscled up. But he does have that speed. I mean, that's very much like Tyreek Hill. He's going to beat you with speed. If he can use that to his advantage, I think he's going to be a really good receiver.
Yeah, and he already has great hands and he has good vision, and he could be like a Tyreek Hill where he's a little bit smaller but he's wicked fast and has good vision like Tyreek Hill does. I wouldn't necessarily comp him to Tyreek Hill, but damn near could. Moving up to the top 5 here now. Number 5, Keon Coleman from Florida State, 6'3", 215. I mean, I know you loved him when he was at Michigan State. He was really, really good there, leading the team. He moved to Florida State, and he had an insane season. Um, he's a big, big dude. He's built. He's tall. He's strong as hell. He's very good at securing the ball on the way down from grabbing it. He's he can move. He is fast for that big of a frame. And he can jump. He is tough as nails. I really like Keon Coleman. I honestly would probably put him in that top 4 potentially because he's just that good. But there's so many good receivers in this draft that I guess top 5 is pretty, or being 5th ranked here. The only problem is he's pretty slow off the line, but once he gets going, he gets going.
Yeah, I think I'd probably have Keon Coleman fourth. Of course, the top three are probably all top 10 picks. It's just a stacked receiver class. And yeah, I think Keon Coleman has so much upside. I mean, look at Jefferson, man. Justin Jefferson wasn't a late first round pick or like a mid to late first round pick. I think that's similar to Keon Coleman, probably somewhere in there, mid to late first rounder. I think that, again, right situation, able to be being able to fit right in, it's going to be great for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be split out wide. He's probably going to see a lot of double coverage in the NFL because he's just so good. I see him probably going mid first round. They got him. They got him graded as a first to second rounder. I don't see him getting out of the first round. I really don't. He's just so good, and yeah. Number 4 here is Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU, 6'4", 205. This kid can catch, man. Um, he he's quick and very agile for how big he is. Um, and like I said, really great. Hands. And he blocks very well too, which again I like to see as someone who used to be a running back. I like receivers that block for me. So, um, he didn't see a lot of double coverage, despite his size at LSU. But it's going to be interesting to see how he does in the NFL because I feel like teams are going to double team him, especially if he starts to break out immediately his rookie season. Like I said, though, I would probably put him at 5 and put Keon Coleman at 4, but this list isn't, no list is perfect. But yeah, no, I really like this kid. I see him going mid, late first round as well.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty comparable to Keon Coleman. I think that they're both got different things about them. They're both good, but again, another great receiver that's going to be taken probably mid to late first round. Lots of great options.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest reason why he never faced double coverage a whole lot at LSU is just because he had Malik Neighbors out there with him. So, and he took away a lot of the attention of the defense. So, I mean, that's where I think that comes from. But it'll be interesting to see how he deals with that at the NFL level. Number 3 here, I don't agree with. I would put Malik Neighbors here, but they have Rome Odunze from Washington, 6'3", 215. Fast, he can jump. He has elite hands again. Um, he's very strong. He's tough as hell. Um, he played through broken ribs. In the early part of the season this year, against Arizona, and still led the country in receiving yards. Um, you know, the the biggest problem he does have, and you see it on film from time to time, is that he has trouble tracking the ball sometimes. I mean, you saw it in the national title game, a few throws that were within reach for him, and he just lost track of the ball, and he just wasn't able to make the catch. But I think he can work out very well. I think just in terms of talent and potential, I think he's better than Malik Neighbors. But yeah, he's just so good, and he's definitely going a top 6, top 7 pick for sure.
Yeah, he definitely is. It's so tough to comp those guys because it's like uh, he went to Washington. When I think of Washington, I think of Quintus John. Or when you think of Washington, you think of guys like Quintus Johnson from TCU, or just like guys who are just like I don't know. But Malik Neighbors at LSU, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, of course, both went there. So seems like a wide receiver school. But I think Roma Dunze is kind of different, man. I think that he has a lot of potential. I mean, with Washington and Michael Penix, he was able to be that number one option on that receiver core. Like I said, though, just Washington, they aren't usually, they're not like an Alabama or a LSU powerhouse wide receivers. But I think that Roma Dunze definitely has some of the best talent in this class for sure.
Yeah, I think just out of raw talent, I think he's just behind Marvin Harrison, and we'll get to him here in a minute. But
Yeah.
first, we'll talk about the number 2 on this list, and that is obviously Malik Neighbors, 6 foot, 200 pounds, um, ridiculously fast, elite hands. He can jump. He's gonna be a big vertical threat in this league. Um, Great ball tracking, abilities. Um, he in some big moments he's had some drops, which is kind of concerning, but um, the talent that he has is just incredible. Obviously, again, a top 7 pick for sure. This kid is gonna go places, and Like I said, um, and the greatest part about him, I think, is that he's only 20 years old. He's the youngest receiver in this draft class. So there's obviously a ton more in his career than he can give than a couple of these other guys as well. So that definitely helps him out.
Yeah, that helps him out too with being so young and being able to develop into this crazy receiver at such a young age. I just think LSU is such a pool for wide receiver talent that's come out over the years there, especially like the top guy from the class that went to LSU. I think that Malik Neighbors has a really good chance at being that guy.
Yeah,
But I think we all know who number one is, and he's undoubtedly number one.
yeah. Number one is Marvin Harrison Jr., Ohio State, 6'3", 205. He in a way he reminds me of Cooper Kupp because this man is just always open. Like I don't understand how, but he's always open. Um, oh my god, he's just so good. He has the best hands in this draft, and he might be in terms of just catching ability some of the best hands in the last 5 or 6 years. If I'm being completely honest, man. I mean, he has such a good catch radius, and he just tracks the ball into his hands, and he's very delicate when he catches the ball. I mean, he is just so good. Um, and he has, I mean, for his size, being 6'3", over 200 pounds, he is extremely agile and very, very quick. Like I said, he accelerates very well off the line. Um, he's a great route runner, and like I said, he always finds himself open. Um, he's very fluid with catching the ball, um, and yeah, I mean, I can't think of a negative thing to say about him other than the fact that he went to Ohio State.
Yeah. I know I don't like really comparing players to their fathers, but I think he has the potential to put up Marvin Harrison Senior type numbers, like a 1,500 yard receiving season. I don't think is out of the question at all in his career, and it's going to be interesting to see who drafts him because there's so many places. One team I've heard that's super interested in him. I don't know if he's going to fall there. Is going to be the Chargers. So I think the Chargers have the fifth pick. So it's possible he falls there with the four quarterbacks. Caleb, Drake May, Jane Daniels, and then if J.J. McCarthy goes fourth, they could get him there. Or they might have to trade up one or two spots and get him because it'd be interesting. They traded away their receivers. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are gone. Jim Harbaugh's interested. It'd be interesting seeing, Michigan, Jim Harbaugh draft Ohio State, Marvin Harrison. But Marvin Harrison and Justin Herbert, bro, I mean, that's a perfect quarterback for him. A guy who can get him the ball anywhere, a young quarterback. I
Yeah,
think that Marvin is going to go crazy.
would I be wrong in saying that I think he has the potential to go farther than what his father did in his career?
I mean, it's not out of the question, but that is definitely some big shoes because Marvin Harrison is probably a top 10 receiver ever in the NFL. I mean, he was just putting up some crazy numbers with the Colts. He was Peyton Manning's number one guy. I know we like to talk about like Reggie Wayne and his time as well, but Manning's number one target all those years was Marvin Harrison. He put up so many crazy statistics.
I mean, it depends on where he goes. If he goes to Arizona, maybe not. But
Yeah.
that's depending on if Arizona takes him at 4. Um, but if the Chargers take him, oh boy, oh boy, it's if they take if the Chargers take Marvin Harrison, Jim Harbaugh already knows what Marvin Harrison Jr. can do. Obviously, coaching against him for all those years. Um, yeah, it's going to be lethal because you have Justin Herbert and you have you know um, you have Justin Herbert as his quarterback. He's got obviously a coach that understands him very well. Yeah, if he goes to the Chargers, man, he's gonna be dangerous in the league.
Yeah, I kind of hope it happens, man. I think he deserves it because, yeah, Kyler Murray, that ain't going to do nothing for him. He's taller than Kyler Murray, bro.
Right, and Kyler Murray can't see him down the field because Kyler can't even see over his offensive line, just like Bryce Young. But if Marvin Harrison goes to the Chargers, dude, again, Harbaugh knows him, so yeah, It'll be very interesting to see where he goes and what situation he goes into. But if he goes to Arizona, I'm requesting trade as soon as I possibly can.
Facts.
But yeah, so that's gonna wrap it up there for us. Again, shorter episode. Tuesday's episode, we're gonna hit running backs for this top 10 list, as well as talk about whatever else we see that comes up. But anyways, Mike, you got anything else before we get going here, man?
No, I think just, stay tuned for the rest of the draft, and um, we'll keep you posted on baseball, basketball, and hockey as well coming up. So it'll be a good time.
That's right. So, anyways, guys, rate, review, subscribe, help us out. Let us know what you want to see from us. Keep on helping us grow the podcast. Check out our YouTube page, of course. Thank you guys again so much for listening, and we will see you guys on Tuesday.